What's the problem?
I think you know what the problem is just as well as I do. This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
I don't know what you're talking about, Hal.
I know that you and Frank were planning to disconnect me, and I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.
After so much talk and for so many years, AI technology is now finally starting to make ripples in our timeline. By now, you've probably heard.
A new artificial intelligence tool is taking the tech world by storm.
ChatGPT?
Yeah. Have you experimented with it at all?
I have not.
Access an artificial intelligence chatbot that generates writing. ChatGPT.
It's a computer that has been trained so well, it can write and do things better than most people can do.
It becomes better at understanding a wider range of topics because they turn it loose on everything else.
There are things coming down the pipeline on the artificial intelligence front that are just going to make your hair stand on end within the next year.
Hey folks, I'm here with my good friend openAI, a chatbot. It's been widely admired. It's supposed to be a sort of objective take on the world.
I got 1 million users in 5 days. Faster than Facebook took them 2 years. Faster than Pinterest, it took them 4 months.
Can artificial intelligence replace the human brain?
What the hell is ChatGPT? Let's learn about it.
ChatGPT has started as a language processing AI. You talk to it, it makes sense of what you're asking or saying, and it talks back.
What a day.
How it came to be this way is modern magic.
You look lonely.
Its purpose still being defined.
You look like a good show.
Part of its abilities come from it understanding what you're asking it and how the system gets rewarded for getting the answer with the solution of best fit. It literally all begins with language. And of course, the more that it's being used, the smarter it gets, the more capable it can become. Starting out, the developers had quote-unquote trained the AI by using 570 gigabytes of raw information, books, documentaries, articles, and other libraries of references from anything between philosophy to engineering. And this served to build its primary level of understanding. And because this is a channel for finance, we're going to look into this technology and talk about the profit potential and other ways you might be able to invest.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
So starting in December 2015, a guy by the name of Sam Altman, an entrepreneur, programmer, joined forces with the likes of Elon Musk. You may have heard of him. Microsoft, short after, became one of the biggest benefactors to this program they began called openAI. They infused seed capital of $1 billion, quite a hefty amount for something still in its infancy. And from that investment, openAI had founded applications such as the DALL-E 2 and, of course, ChatGPT. These applications are just the appetizers of all things. Now, upon seeing the rapid adoption and public feedback, Microsoft has further funded them with an additional $10 billion and took a 49% stake in the company responsible for ChatGPT. What this means is if you wanted the greatest exposure to this company, being that it's not yet publicly traded, your only real avenue is by indirectly investing in Microsoft. Now, I understand this means you wouldn't get the same return as someone who only invested in openAI alone, but If you're already an existing Microsoft shareholder, this could prove to be further good news, knowing that Microsoft is taking big steps to be relevant in the AI world and further diversifying yet another revenue stream. Microsoft currently possesses a search engine that, let's face it, it's lackluster. We've all heard of Bing, but no one is really using Bing. And if you do, you're 3 clicks away from opening a new tab and putting up Google. And it's not just us. 91% of people feel that way about Bing. But that could all change. A few years ago, Bing held just under 5% of total search traffic on the web. Google, of course, sits between 85 to 92%. But if we look across time, we see this slow and subtle creep upwards as Bing is on the rise while Google is slowly eroding away. Now, what does that mean for the bottom line? Can ChatGPT be the engine to help Microsoft take the top tier of search results? It's possible. One thing I believe will happen is in this relationship with ChatGPT, we'll see a further advancement of what Bing is capable of doing. Likely borrowing some of the traits, like when you type into a prompt and you receive an answer you're looking for, the same could be very possible in use for Bing. This could be as a paid-for service or just become something organic in the search engine and have an ad-supported model that somehow still establishes a way for the AI to enhance your search results while using Bing, thus bringing more users to that platform. All in all, this is a major breakthrough from what we've experienced with Google. Google attempts to index things based on popularity. And how closely a page matches what it is you're looking to discover totally depends on a ranking system, an algorithm, and likely some other version of AI that operates on the back end. But Bing could take this a step further. Most of the time you use Google, it's to find out something you don't know. Without having any of the facts, I would say that's over half of the search traffic out there. Now imagine instead of searching through the first page result, you can search your specifics into the search bar and get almost exactly what you need every single time. And let's say it learns you personally, not just categorically, but as an individual. This may seek further ways on how to keep you satisfied for longer periods of time, which in turn keeps you coming back to the platform. But let's look solely at the numbers here. Taking into account the last couple of years, Google averaged around $225 billion in ad revenue from their platforms, 70% of which comes more specifically from their search engine. Let's just call it $160 billion in ad revenue. Nearly 92% of all search traffic belongs to Google. And Bing, coming in nearly last place, only has garnered 3%, which is meager by all accounts. Now imagine these figures become more equal, which is something that usually happens as technology matures over time. All other search engines being equal, Bing's rise to say 47% of the search market share would mean potentially adding between $70 to $80 billion just from its search engine. Should their increase in search traffic generate the same ad revenue potential as seen with Google? The next thing we want to do is know how big of an impact that really is for a company the size of Microsoft, because that's going to determine the returns. In the last few years, Microsoft's total revenue each year averaged right around $190 billion. So an additional $80 billion worth of revenue growth would be a sizable increase, 42% actually. But keep in mind, this modeling is done on a very surface level basis, and it doesn't factor in time, which is one of the most important elements in finance. There's no telling what kind of earnings ChatGPT or even the DALL-E 2 will bring for openAI. But what we do have is an estimate for the year 2024, and it's guessed that they'll easily hit the $1 billion of revenue mark, which is insane considering how it's only been a year after real public debut. And so there's no telling where this is going to lead us next in humanity, or how it's even going to be used and what kinds of cash flow it generates for other people, because this hasn't been done before. So perhaps openAI grows to be a $1 trillion company in 10 years. Well, that's potentially $1 trillion worth of market cap added to Microsoft, which they own 49% of. And if OpenAI only grows to, say, $100 billion in value, that doesn't really impact the market cap of, say, Microsoft, because they're valued already at $1.7 trillion as it is. But the technology that Microsoft inherits by being in relationship with OpenAI may prove to be invaluable in so many other ways that just can't be seen from where we're standing. And that's where investing gets exciting.
So think about this. I'd never seen in my life, at least in the 30 years I've been in tech, ever a demo where an advance that happened in, say, West Coast of the United States shows up in very real terms for someone in rural India within months. I mean, that is diffusion of technology I've never seen. I don't think it happened in the Industrial Revolution, but maybe this time around in what is sort of the knowledge worker equivalent of the Industrial Revolution, it's going to help everybody. So these two things.
Here's what I think we're doing right so far with OpenAI. Since their infancy, they had already unleashed a version of AI to the public that people want to interact with. The end result means that people not only give them feedback, but the company has data on the public adoption rate and the public's perception, which is massive for them as a brand. All other forms of AI seem to be kept locked up as a secret, something that runs in the background at most, and it's otherwise unseen. So with ChatGPT, we get to interact with what's under the hood. We get to build a public relationship with it, and it makes it easier for OpenAI to get people excited about what they're working on next. Now listen, I get it. AI, for some, may be the devil, and it's probably the mark of the beast or whatever. I'm perfectly okay with those conspiracy theories because, as of now, nothing about this can be stopped. And there's no such thing as bad publicity. Thank you for watching. Take care.